Can I Not Marry audio web novel chapter 12 Very embarrassed, very cold. After finally realized that she had caught a turtle with a strong asset, Du Lacey's mood was simply indescribable. She haven't forgotten that their marriage is fake. Even though their marriage certificate is real, the wedding is real, Hui Men is also real, but most all their feelings are not real. After countless bloody facts constantly reminding her, a marriage without feeling is bound to be forgotten. One day, she and the president will divorce, they will become two unrelated strangers. Just the thought of this, Du Lacey couldn't help but secretly look at the extremely overbearing, vindictive, harsh and demanding president. One day this person will leave her, it should be a very happy thing, but why isn't she happy? Is it because sheet? Du Lacey's mind flashed a thought, she was right. She's certain it's because she thought the president is too strong. Inadvertently she made the right capitulation mistakes, while ignoring her own knowledge of patience and perseverance as a young woman in a new era. Du Lacey, how do you accept being frightened by a capitalist after receiving well over 20 years of Marxism education of socialist youth? That's right. You have to resist, and must not let the president lead you by the nose. At that moment, Du Mama suddenly yelled, Du, it is very late, it's unsafe to drive back, why don't spend the night here? In a moment, I'll clean up your father and my room, you guys can sleep there. Du Lacey's eyes lit up, the opportunity to revoke has arrived. She didn't wait for the president to reply, and spoke first, Mom. There's no need for this. Again Lian Jun besides her nodded, this indeed is not very good. It's rare that the president would agree with her views. Du Lacey was slightly surprised. Unfortunately, this his surprise wasn't over when the horror came along, because the president added the following sentence, we'll sleep together in the other room. The so-called another room is actually the room Du Lacey used to sleep in. The entire room altogether didn't even make up 10 square meters. In addition, it was furnished with a slightly larger desk and a small bed to accommodate one person. One bed, two people, how are they going to sleep? For this reason, Du Lacey was full of complaints. How can the president not discuss with her, and decided himself? No matter what, this is her home, it's enough that the president have a say in his nest. However, now that they're at her place she should have the final say. That's not fair. Just then, why did you agree with my mom? Du Lacey plucked up the courage to ask. I did. Lian Jun raised his eyebrow, wasn't it you that let me speak? Not only is he a dictator, but he also shirked from responsibilities. Du Lacey anxiously asked, I have. Didn't you? But you clearly wanted to say that. Lian Jun suddenly changed the subject, his sharp killer eyes shot over, or do you think I don't deserve to sleep in your room? Just this one glance, the momentum that Du Lacey accumulated deflated like balloon. When? I'm just afraid you'll be sleeping in such a small bed, it'll be uncomfortable. It won't be. Lian Jun said nonchalantly, it's perfect for one person. One person. Du Lacey was frightened, the president didn't want her to sleep the floor, right? Otherwise, you want to sleep with me? Lian Jun asked. Quote ellipsis. I still like to sleep on the floor more. And sir, for the first time Du Lacey discovered the flaw in her room that she has lived for more than a decade was so hard. The cruel fact that once again proven, the drama on TV of the so-called golden laws and precious perceptions are all false. What the actor will be so stubborn and reluctant to admit their mistakes or defeats. She hopes he will eventually be led out of the bed, go to hell. In front of the president, all sympathy are vague and insubstantial. When Du Lacey fell asleep with full of grievances, she had no idea what happened to the president next would leave a lifetime impression. The clock in living room has struck 12. Lian Jun turned over in bed. This little bed made it really difficult for one to sleep. He didn't know how this stupid girl used to sleep in the past. However, no matter how difficult the bed was to sleep on, the floor must be more difficult. It is said that once the night arrives, a person's will is particularly vulnerable, which is actually true. Lian Jun suddenly felt slightly apologetic. So, he plans to call Du Lacey, who was sleeping on the ground, to come up. He turned over, and was frightened by the sight of the scene. He saw a person standing beside the bed, staring at him. Why did you wake up? Lian Jun asked. Du Lacey did not answer. Do you want to sleep on the bed? I'll let you have half of it. She still did not answer. Lian Jun finally found it unbearable. Hello. Are you going to speak? After he finished speaking there was silence. Suddenly Du Lacey rushed up. Facing Lian Jun she tried to push and bite him. Pounding the shoving for half a night, Du Lacey suddenly opened her mouth, biting down hard on Lian Jun's arm. Ouch! Lian Jun didn't expect her to make such a move. He was taken by surprise and fell from the bed. As he angrily stood up, he turned on the light prepared to teach the uppity girl a lesson, however he was stunned. He saw Du Lacey lying on the bed with her arms and legs stretched out sleeping soundly. Is there a mistake? This girl is sleepwalking. Time. Early in the morning place. The kitchen character, Du Mama and Du Papa. Du Mama whispered, pretending to be mysterious, said to her husband, "Old man, last night did you hear any sounds coming from the room next door?" There was. Du Papa looked confused. It appears someone fell off their bed during their sleep. Ah, you really don't understand exotic style. Du Mama stared at her husband. What, falling out of bed? Clearly we're going to have a grandson soon. Grandson? Where is our grandson? Mom, what are you talking about? Du Lacey yawned coming out from the room. Nothing. Seeing her daughter, Du Mama immediately put away her mysterious expression, and deliberately asked, "My daughter, did you sleep well last night?" Last night. Du Lacey yawned once again. Very good. Du Mama is not willing to settle with that answer so she continued to ask. Nothing happened. With this question, Du Lacey was awakened. Speaking of which, there is a very strange thing. She remembers last night she was clearly sleeping on the floor. How did she end up on this bed this morning? And she almost stepped onto the president, who was sleeping on the floor. Wait, the president was sleeping on the floor. Du Lacey suddenly sober and awake. God. The president who's not even used to traveling on the train, how could he sleep on the floor? Is it because of her? Just the thought of this made Du Lacey confused.